Welcome back to the show, folks. It's Thursday. This is Thursday Tier Talk, the upper tier, here every Thursday to answer your questions, to bring you Premier League previews, Carabao Cup reviews, all the latest hot news and gossip, everything that's going on in the world of football. And a few people in the chat sneak in a few pro wrestling things at times as well. Hope you enjoyed the show last night. We had one hell of a pro wrestling show last night, Darren. It was great fun. Really great fun with the chat and all, real interactive and all, really cool. Check it out. Also, I'll be back on your airwaves tomorrow night at 7:30. Tottenham preview, huge game at the weekend. We'll be talking about it here tonight as well, no doubt.
Come on, you Spurs.
Joining me as always, the Dazzler. How are we, my man?
I'm all right, pal. How are you?
Not too bad at all. Not too bad. Just fresh out of the shower there.
Yeah, I feel a little better after a haircut and 2 wins. No, Life gets a bit easier, doesn't it? Lightens the load slightly. I was just thinking, if we got sponsorship from OnlyFans, we could have Thursday Tit Talk, couldn't we?
And we do pack a pair each, don't we?
Or I was going to say, maybe we could have 2 tits talk on a Thursday, like whichever you want.
Oh, can you imagine?
Nothing like a bit of self-deprecation.
Yeah, triple T's. There you go.
Yeah.
They
be big ones.
Let's check in. Yeah, Thursday Tier Talk.
Whoa, they be triple T's.
Well, you do know we are the upper tier, aren't we?
We sure are.
Absolutely.
We sure are.
Henry's in. How are you, Henry? Good to see you, my friend. Always here on the
Good man, Henry.
The channel.
Sure is.
And of course, my man is in. Morris, we were at Easy E, Eric Bischoff the other night, and myself and Morris are thinking of doing a review show on that night, actually. Has Acer submitted the betting slip yet? I haven't seen the betting slip yet. Surely a man that had €100 on Jota and he scored will be willing to share. I think, am I right, Morrison, thinking he had him as first goal scorer, though? That's the only thing. I don't think it was any time. I'll get on to some of the OnlyFans ladies for you. Absolutely. And Baz is in. How are you, Baz? Good to see you. Evening, lads. What's the crack? Daz is in as well as always. What's the crack, Niall and Dazzler? Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Daz.
Henry, I'm good. Darren, excellent.
That's good man, Henry. Good to hear it.
Where we begin? Premier League, I suppose we'll begin.
Begin at the start. Will we go for the crack?
Begin at the start, yeah. Sometimes we begin at the finish, but never. Tonight we'll begin at the start.
You know, like at the end of the day,
it's night time.
Gets dark. So, go there. This is a big game to kick us off, isn't it?
Big game for both clubs.
Really big game. Really big game. Gotta say. Like Villa, great win last week. We may have called it. We
100% called it. We even gave our viewers the goal scorer.
We may have called it. But I don't think anyone thought they were going to go out in the Carabao to Everton then, did they? At home in Villa Park.
Yeah, it was a weird one, but we did say, and I mean, I think you predicted it more than me, that if Everton did get a few players back and got them humming, they might be able to do bits. I disagreed with you at the time, but Calvert-Lewin has come back in. He's starting to look a little bit tad like the old self.
The only reason I was even coming at that was, I think it's a better squad than he had at Burnley. And he was able to do a certain amount with Burnley and make them competitive. So on that evidence, I was thinking, right, well, if he starts keeping a few clean sheets, we know he's got the boy Pickford there, he's a good goalkeeper, Pickford. He has his moments, but he is generally a pretty good keeper. Tarkovsky, a couple of lads like that, big defenders, rugged lads, always submit.
He does. He always does.
True. Yeah,
always sends us his bets. Absolutely.
And then like he's got a little more creativity going forward. Like he's got Danjuma. He's got the boy Jack Harrison, who's a really good footballer that they signed from Leeds. He's got Dwight McNeil. He's got a little bit going on. If you can get Calvert-Lewin fit, get some lads on the pitch, like a few good footballers there. Onana, Decore, the boy James Garner's playing a part. I don't think they'll be in as big a trouble as we thought they might have been. I certainly think they'll be all right this weekend. Back to Villa and Brighton. This is huge for Villa and for Unai Emery on the back of the defeat at Everton, I suppose, because the fans will be on their back a little bit, especially when you look at City going out the other night. That's an opportunity for Villa to win a cup, and no man better at winning cups than Unai Emery. You know, he's won enough of them in his time.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get into talking about the Carabao Cup, but I thought, you know what I thought was really strange last night? When you seen the Newcastle result, a lot of the pundits and a lot of what was coming out was talking about this is a great opportunity now for teams to potentially win this cup with Man City going out. They went out to Southampton last year. And this year, and the funny thing about it, I was thinking is, Man United are still in there, and they're the holders. Why are you disrespecting Man United that way by going now that City are out? It's open game.
But listen,
you know?
don't forget, like they won 4 Carabaos on the bounce before that, and they've just come off a treble. So this season for Man City, there was probably one eye on the quadruple, but that's going to be difficult now because they're now out of the Carabao. The one thing I suppose I was surprised about last night was the fact that, you know, they needed a goal, and he didn't budge. He didn't budge, the boy Haaland. And I thought, when's he coming? He's going to come on soon. He's going to come on. He looked a couple of times. No, not moving him. And I just thought, wow, does it, like, what kind of message does it send? Was he kind of saying to the lads, listen, I shouldn't have to bring this big fucking Viking on every time we need a goal. Someone else should be able to take up the mantle. Was that the challenge laid down?
No, I think what he was doing is he was probably being careful as well because he knows he's coming into a run of games now that are really important. And like, although we talk about the quad and things like that and all, the reality is the Carabao Cup is quite far down on the list, I would suggest.
Absolutely.
And also they spoke about as well last night, didn't they say that does the semi-final of it, if they got that far, does that clash with our World Club Cup or Super Cup or whatever it is that
I'm not sure.
Something I'm like not that. Sure. Same as remember it happened to us. Remember it happened to us the year we
and
did.
He's to play 2 games in 2 days. That's right. Yeah.
So I think he's looking at that and he's probably thinking, look down the neck of that anyway. He could potentially get sacrificed at a later stage in the semi-final, maybe against a bigger team or something like that. You know, so there was a lot behind that and stuff like that. Now listen, don't get me wrong, that City team that went on the pitch last night, it ain't a bad team, not by any stretch.
Not at all. And it was good enough to go and get a victory, you know, but it just didn't happen. Yeah. And I suppose just getting back to Villa and Brighton, like 2 good results last week in the league, 2 wins, then both of them get knocked out of the cup this week, which makes Saturday a huge game. Really does. I think, you know, Villa for me this season have been a bit they've been a bit on and off, you know. At times I've looked at them and thought, wow, this could be really, really good here. And then you see them and they're getting rolled over and tickled by other teams and you're thinking, what's going on here? They just haven't found the blend yet of what he wants to put forward, you know. And I still think there's some serious players there, and I still think he'll do a savage job with them. I really do. But I think at the start of the season, when we saw the incomings at Aston Villa, we possibly imagined they were going to be in the shake-up for a Champions League spot. And I think right now, looking at them, they're a bit off that.
Yeah, you got to remember as well, if you look at the first number of games in the season, obviously, you know, they got spanked in the first game by Newcastle, I think 5-0 it was or something like that. Then they went on. There's always been this underlining talk with Aston Villa about against the top 6 or 7, they're pretty poor. And it's trying to bridge that gap in order to cement themselves into a much higher position in the Premier League and stuff like that. But they had been shown a certain kind of soft underbelly as well, dare I say, you know, which is very unusual as well for an Unai Emery team as well. But it's just, sometimes you can just go through a patch like that, you know. And you look at Aston Villa as well, you know, maybe Emery's thinking as well. I mean, he doesn't have a bloated squad either, you know what I mean? He, as much as what he brought in and stuff like that, you can see on it as well when you look at options and stuff like that. He's still tight to the wall, really, so he can't afford players to be injured either.
There's still a couple of players, you know. Now, like, listen, don't get me wrong. The 4 wins from 6. But I suppose going back to it, like, they've lost obviously against you guys. And they've lost against Newcastle. And it wasn't just that they lost, it was the manner at which they lost in. Now, of course, they go last weekend and they pick up the win away at Chelsea. If you're calling, if at the minute we're calling Chelsea one of the traditional top 6 or 7, it's a huge victory for Villa. But they're still, you know, it's still up and down from them. They kind of, and I got to be honest with you, they kind of remind me a little bit of United at times. Right. And the reason I say that is they go on and they seem to grind out these results against these lesser teams, and then they go and play a big team and they get absolutely handed to them, right? And we've seen obviously, United got their asses handed to them a couple of times last season. City, Liverpool, stuff like that, and then all of a sudden they go back and they grind out 4 or 5 wins and they're back where they need. So when I'm looking at Villa, I'm thinking, there's a little bit of that about them as well,
Yeah. What are you going for here?
I'm going for score draw. I'm going 2-2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There'll be goals in them.
I think there'll be goals. I absolutely think there'll be goals. Now, I know Brighton obviously got knocked out last night, and a boy that I've certainly bigged up quite a bit had a really poor night at the office last night. And that's the boy João Pedro. Missed 2-3 chances, really good chances. And I just thought, if they take this, they've knocked Chelsea out and they've got a step closer, but it didn't happen. And, he needs to really step up at the weekend for them and get back in the score sheet, because it looks like Ferguson might still be injured or ill. And I think it's a tough day for them at the office, but I think score draw for me. I'm going to go 2-2.
Yeah, Henry reckons 2-1 to Brighton. Interesting. Be interesting.
It sure is.
Bournemouth, Arsenal.
Yeah, so I suppose last weekend was a big result for Arsenal, getting over the line the way they did. No, I'm lying. Arsenal drew last weekend, sorry.
2-2.
Arsenal drew 2-2. Yeah, and actually, I got to be honest, I think they did well to get a draw in the end. I thought Spurs were full value. Really thought Spurs were good value for it. Thought Arsenal got a couple of little bits of rubs, if I'm honest. I know we're not bringing it back to the Man United show, but if we look at the penalty decision against Romero and we look at the penalty decision against Romero against United, tell me what the difference is, will you?
Yeah, we will be having a talk about referees. There's no doubt about that.
Because I just thought if it was going to be the case that they don't give the penalty against United, then they shouldn't have, in my eyes, given the penalty for Arsenal last week. I think Arsenal weren't great. Yeah, I'd agree with Morris. I think they weren't great. I think they scraped through in the Carabao as well. I think Bournemouth have been okay at home. They've struggled a bit away. Brighton kind of took them apart last weekend. But they did manage to get through in the cup. So they're just plodding along, Bournemouth at the minute. And I think this could be close. This could be one that Arsenal have to go real late in the day and get that winner. As we saw last season away at Villa and stuff like that. We saw those last minute goals. I think this could be the same again this time. I think this could be Arsenal 2-1, but very, very late in the day.
Yeah, it's a tough place to go as well, isn't it? When you don't have all your players and stuff like that as well. And you can see what Bournemouth
it's a tight ground. Those stands are right up on side of the touch lines. Bournemouth are trying to do things the right way. They've a lot of decent footballers. They've recruited quite well, And he's not a mug, the manager either,
Yeah, they're a physical team as well, and so it'd be interesting to see how Arsenal step up there. Be interesting to see the Arsenal lineup as well, because obviously.
Well, there's talk obviously of Partey and Rice both being in.
Yeah, well, that's without a doubt. But there's also talk as well. They're going to have to babysit Saka at the moment, because I believe there's a potential Achilles issue there that they're going to have to be really careful with, because if that progresses in any way, that boy could be missing for the whole season. And
Arsenal don't have that, because I got to be honest with you, we haven't been the absolute best of recruiters over the last number of years. At United. But my God, whoever sanctioned the Kai Havertz deal.
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere needs to hold their hands up for that.
Yeah, although I have to say as well, I did look at the Brentford game last night, and I'm not going to big him up here, because you know how I feel about Kai Havertz anyway, but he seemed to be doing a little bit more last night than what we've seen.
He's miles off it. That's the Carabao.
He's miles off 65. He's miles off 65 million. Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. If you were going to go and shell out 65 million, someone tell me why you wouldn't have gone and got Ivan Toney.
while he was banned.
Okay, but you could have still bought him.
No, but yeah, you could still buy him, but he's not much good to you if you don't play him.
He's not, but he's about as much good as fucking Havertz is. Plus, come January, he's going to come in like a bull in the china shop and probably score 10 to 15 between, January and the end of the season, because he's going to miss so much football. And, at Arsenal, they create chances. Yeah. And the boy Havertz cannot take a chance.
That's a good point. We'll talk about that later on. We'll talk about that United situation with Jim Ratcliffe and all. Darren will have the latest on that, of course. Morris, we did. I think we all called the Havertz situation. The El Neni one is an interesting one, because I was listening to Arsenal fans this week, and they wanted it when Arteta was doing the substitutions in the North London derby. They were calling for El Neni to come on, that it would have been a better substitution and stuff like that. So not surprised at all. Henry's in. Havertz is being found out as a bad player. He didn't need to go to Arsenal for that to be found out. He was shocking at Chelsea as well. Who does I think United need in January?
I suppose it kind of depends where we are at that stage. Yeah. Whether you're going into the market looking to spend money out of your summer budget to try and get you closer to a particular goal, or whether you're saying, we're still in the mix for whatever it is. Let's just plod along as we are, keep the money for the summer, see how we finish and stuff like that. I think for me, the main issue would be getting that centre-back position sorted. That's, I think, something that has to be addressed, because, obviously Evans is a stopgap. Maguire's not at the level. And that leaves you with Martinez and Lindelof and half of Varane, because he's generally not fit enough of the time. So, if you've 2.5 centre-backs, you kind of need to be looking at bringing in somebody young, big and physical, robust. Listen, I would love to see the boy Todibo. That's who I wanted in the summer. He's a fabulous footballer, the boy that plays at Nice. He's ex-Barcelona. He's a very physical lad. He's kind of 6'3", but can move particularly well for a guy of his size. He's quite athletic. He's good on the ball. He heads the ball well. There doesn't seem to be any panic. That's where I'd be going.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny and Sabozloy Screamer was so spectacular. So
it
glad
was.
He's a red.
I was talking to Andrew on the way home in the car tonight. It's as good a hit as I've seen since John Arnorisa. That's how good it was. It didn't move. It didn't deviate. The ball was like a heat-seeking fucking missile.
Like an arrow.
Like an arrow. We used to get those Risa ones. That's...
Yeah, and the funny thing about it, he does that on a regular basis. He's done that in the previous.
He does that regular
He's also
enough.
done it for Hungary as well.
He does do it. He does it 6 to 8 times a season, probably maybe 10 if you're lucky.
Yeah. What did you call Arsenal? Tight one for Arsenal late on.
I called 2-1 to Arsenal, but real late in the day, probably a winner and at a time or something close to it.
Make sure, folks, head over to Henry's channel there. He's 10 subs off 200. Drop a sub on.
Good man, Henry. Good man.
Up to 200, folks, before the end of the stream if you can. Says Liverpool to win. Mo Salah score anytime. We'll come to that now in a minute.
I think that'd be a huge result for Liverpool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Everton versus Luton.
Yeah, listen, I think at the minute, no matter who Luton are playing, I'm backing the opposition. Everton obviously going on a little run here, little mini run of results. Tighten things up a little bit at the back. Obviously got the boy Calvert-Lewin back. The boy Beto played up front a couple of times as well. He's looked decent. His work rate's phenomenal. See, Jack Harrison's comes back from injury. Dwight McNeil is in there. The boy Onana. I love the boy Onana. I've said this a few times. This kid's an absolute baller. He's not going to be at Everton too long.
Your ex-boy is in there, isn't he? Is it James Garner?
James Garner did well from the other night. Got a goal and stuff like that. Yeah, nicked the ball off them. But the boy, he's the star of the show for me. The boy, Amadou Onana. Yeah. This kid is not going to be at Everton for long. He's a fabulous footballer. They spent the guts of 35 million on this lad. So, that's a huge statement of intent for Everton. Now, what can they do? What can they, transfer fee-wise, what can they do with that? Can they double their money? They should be able to double their money. This kid is top drawer, has everything, has an eye for goal, can create. He's box to box. He's physical. He holds the ball well. His biggest issue is that Everton, generally, he doesn't have good enough players around him.
Yeah, you recommended in the summer, actually, that we should go for him. Remember?
I was hoping we were going to go for him. But I did think, there was options for a lot of top clubs to go. Here's the thing. I'm a huge fan of the boy Moise Caicedo at Brighton. And obviously got his move to Chelsea. But if I was Chelsea, I'd have been looking the other way, telling Brighton, listen, we can go down the road to Everton here for 60, 70 million, because Everton haven't got a pot, right? So we can go down with 60 and 70 and take this kid out, and you can keep your boy Caicedo, They didn't play that kind of game of poker, but they could have.
Yeah, so what are we going here? Are we going an Everton tight win?
You know what? I'm going to go Everton 2-0.
Oh, nice. Think about it. 10 days ago, this would have been a 6-point relegation.
Yeah,
6-pointer.
Absolutely.
So interesting how things have changed so quick. Man United versus Palace. You renew your
renew our relationship with Y and the boys.
With Y and the boys again. Yeah. Are you expecting this potentially to be any different?
I don't believe Palace can be as bad as they were on Tuesday night. I think they were quite poor. Now, I do believe one of the reasons they were quite poor is because we were as good as we've been in a long time. And I still think there's a lot in the melting pot for Erik ten Hag at the minute. If I look at prospective teams for the weekend, I don't know if I can nail down what he's gonna pick based on the form and based on the games that have gone on. Last 2 games, one of our best players, Hannibal, right? But now when you've got Fernandes, Amrabat, Casemiro, Mount, McTominay, and Eriksen, does that cause trouble for the young fella? We
had a great discussion the other morning going into work about it, didn't we? And how Erik ten Hag is going to have to maybe potentially make some big decisions that might upset people. But he's going to have to start responding to people who are actually playing a bit of ball and bringing energy.
And listen, I think most people have probably seen it by now. If they haven't, I came across the most astounding statistic in a long time the other day, which was Hannibal covered more ground against Burnley than any other United player had in a game in 5 years. That's scary.
Yeah,
that is scary. Now, if he's putting in that sort of a shift, you can take that kid out. You cannot take that kid out. So that means Hannibal has to play. Casemiro after Tuesday night was superb. You're probably going to try and get the boy Amrabat in again. He looked unbelievable. If you can get him in at left back and let him tuck in as he did, well and good. If not, then you're going Hannibal, you're going Casemiro and Amrabat in the midfield, which means you've got to push Fernandes to the right, Højlund through the middle, and then your big toss of a coin is Garnacho or Rashford on the left. Me personally, I right now would start with Garnacho. Do I think Ten Hag will drop Rashford? I'm unsure. But I think we're not far away from the point where he has to let this kid off the leash. Because every time he comes off the bench or every time he gets a game, he scores or he assists or he creates and he's busy. And then you look at what happens when Rashford plays and it's the exact opposite. So you have to start rewarding those performances and stop forgetting about guys' names and, the standing they have within a club and stuff like that.
Yeah, what are you going for here?
I think Palace might get on the score sheet here, although I know it was quite difficult. It looked like we could be there a little while without them scoring the other night. I think they'll get on it, but I think we'll just nick this. It'll be a little more difficult than Tuesday night, and I'm gonna say 2-1 United.
Yeah, I think for me as a neutral, and I said it to you the other day when we were discussing it, the most exciting thing for me is seeing what lineup he picks more than anything, because I'm interested to see. I want to see not only the development of the team, not only, these kind of things that we talk about, the blend of youth and experience and all. I want to see Ten Hag under pressure making the big decisions. I want to see, has he got that in him? You know what I mean? Has he got the nads to drop Rashford? Put the boy in.
When the team sheet comes up on Saturday, if I saw Amrabat at left back, knowing that meant, you were able to go in with Casemiro, Hannibal and Fernandez, and then even Garnacho and Palestri either side of the boy Hoyland, I would be fucking delighted.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely delighted.
Mm.
I don't necessarily think he'll jump that big that soon.
Mm.
And I think as he's starting to get players back, we'll start seeing a blend of the youth and the experience, the guys who have done it and the guys that maybe have the ability to do it. And, you know, at times I kind of think Rashford has a little bit more credit in the bank sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's if he does start the weekend, I think he's just living off that credit. That's all it is. It's certainly not for his performances of late, you know.
Yeah, Danny and Lindelof being pictured in a dress or something like that. Imagine Stam or Vidic wearing a dress. I don't think so. But then again, we wouldn't be talking about Stam and Vidic in the same vein as Lindelof. No disrespect to Victor Lindelof.
We absolutely wouldn't.
Not even close. Henry's in kind of Gerrard hit too. Yeah, that's a Bosley goal the other night. Yeah, and I said it actually. I actually said it after 2 games that both himself and McAllister very much in their movement and the way they look, the way they approach the game. Very Gerrard like, very, very Gerrard like. Keith is in. I think Havertz isn't suited for the Premier League. He might be suited in the Spanish League or Italian League.
I'd 100% agree with Keith, because I got to be honest, I seen this kid play in the Bundesliga for Leverkusen, and at times he was unbelievable. You've got 2 huge issues with Kai Havertz. Number 1, he wants too much time on the ball. And number 2, he's not physical enough for the Premier League. Now, if I translate that to Serie A, where the game's a bit slower, he certainly creates a bit more time for himself. I don't necessarily think, you know, it does anything for him needing to be a bit stronger and a bit more bulkier to be able to hold himself up a bit better. Do you know what I mean? And something similar in Spain, like there's a lot of lads in Spain like a tackle, you know, and it's going to be way too physical for Havertz. Although I do think the tempo of the game would suit him better.
Yeah, big up Brian. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for dropping in.
Brian.
Henry, big up Brian. Hi, Henry. Please, Palace win. Our Barry's in. Our Baz is in. Dazzler, would you sign Regulon? I think he will be good competition for Sean Defo Malacia.
I don't think it's anything we're struggling for at the minute. Obviously, the 2 injuries have hurt us a little bit with Sean Malacia, but I think if the 2 boys are there, you probably don't waste the money on Region, because there's other areas of the pitch that need looking at first, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Big up Corvo. Big win last night. Congrats. Henry, hey, Corvo. And Morris is in. Darren, why are United fans hyping up Hannibal? He was the lowest rated player on the pitch against Palace. United standards in the gutter.
I got to be honest, I don't really look at ratings, Morris. I watch football with my eyes. And in the last 2 games, you know, the work rate and the endeavour he's brought into that side is exactly what was missing. Exactly what was missing. Like, and if you think of the stat that I've just quoted, it's 5 years since any footballer in a Man United jersey covered that much ground in a game. That's a scary statistic.
Yeah, Ace is in. Newcastle United will eliminate United in the Carabao Cup. We're going to talk about that in a bit. We will be talking about the draw.
Is he going to show us his bet slip for that as well?
Dazzler, do you have any injury worries? Always, don't we? He's not dropping Rashford. Brian's in. He's not dropping Rashford. Yeah, I don't know. It's a huge decision, but I think, I don't know. I suppose it's a difficult one. We're not managers and stuff like that, but I think if I was, and I used to coach the younger guys and stuff like that. Now, I was lucky enough that I didn't have a bloated squad. So literally I was lucky every week if I had 11. So I didn't have to make these decisions. But a couple of times we had to make those decisions based on lads performing and training and stuff like that and all, you know, not putting in the shift. And I don't know. I just think with Rashford, do you think if Rashford was dropped for a couple of games, do you think it might get him more focused or something like that? We know what an exceptional player he is.
Absolutely. I think you can get comfortable at times and you can know I'm going to start the game no matter how good I am. So then why do I need to be better than, you know? Whereas I think, you know, he could do with a game or two. And I think as well, you know, and we heard Ferguson talk about it at times, he had to sell players out of the club to allow the player below them to keep developing. So not only by, giving Rashford the time out, would it maybe get him a bit hungrier? It would show us how much closer the boy Garnacho is to taking that spot. Because again, most of the time we see Garnacho, we see him in like a League Cup squad or an FA Cup squad, and it's not usually the full 11. Whereas I want to see him get 90 minutes, 3 or 4 games in a row next to a Hoyland, with a Bruno beside him and a Casemiro and an Amrabat, so I can say, well, fucking hell, man, this kid is everything we need and more. Let's give him let him run with it.
Yeah, I suppose it also paints a picture as well for Ten Hag as well at a time where his own credentials are being questioned, not necessarily inside the club, but outside the club and stuff like that, And I think that would certainly send a message.
His credentials only ever get questioned in Liverpool. We know that, though.
No, a lot of people have been questioning his credentials over the last 2 weeks. Let's be honest here, And not necessarily even within your own fan base, they've been questioning.
Yeah, but listen, I wouldn't take anything from our fan base. We have the most toxic fan base in football at the minute. It used to be Liverpool's, now it's ours. It's completely toxic.
Well, no, it used to be Arsenal.
I wouldn't say they're any less toxic than ever, but they've just started winning games all of a sudden.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you give me, Man United Palace? 2-1, 3-1, is it?
2-1 United.
2-1 United. Newcastle Burnley?
I'd be a bit scared if I was Burnley here with you. I would be a little bit scared if I was Burnley here. After seeing what they've done to Sheffield United, and then obviously turfing out City, they'll be high on confidence. A lot of guys put in big performances the other night. I'm sure Corvo will let us know. I thought the boy Livramento, who was going to be the understudy to Kieran Trippier, was phenomenal.
Yeah, got man of the match, didn't he?
Got man of the match, the boy Lewis Hall on the other side.
Sorry, should I say player of the match? Sorry about that.
I got man of the match.
Yeah, exactly.
What else would you got? And the boy Hall on the other side, another good signing. Yeah. I think obviously Tonali put in a better performance. There was a lot to like. And if I think about it and think he's probably got some of his big guns to come back, like that's a bit scary as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the only one thing I would say about Burnley is Burnley are quite an organised side. The only thing is they just don't have anything going for them up front.
No, well, listen, they play a brand of football, which is, as a football fan, it's the right kind of football that we want to see. But if you're
doesn't put points on the board.
If you're a team that's going to be fighting relegation, this is absolutely not the kind of football you need to be playing.
Yeah.
They need to get the groundsman down with a hammer and a couple of nails and put some boards up on that goal to try and blank that off. And then they need to find someone to put the ball in the net. They really do.
I suppose the issue as well, there's only so many post-match interviews that Vincent Kompany can do saying that they played lovely football, isn't there?
This is my point. Yeah. Like, because look at it, and let's let's look at it from this point of view. They've under Sean Dyche, I think they'd 5-6 seasons in the Premier League, right? Where they played ugly football but stayed up year after year after year. Now you're looking at them playing beautiful football, great attacking football, brilliant style. Could be relegated by fucking February. As a football fan, what do we want here? Now, listen, what do I want? Me personally, I would prefer the Vincent Kompany approach. And I know that's tough to take because, there's going to be an awful lot of defeats along the way and stuff like that. But to just go and watch it, like, as a United fan, the worst thing that ever happened to me was they gave Jose Mourinho the job because that meant we weren't going to play football. And that was horrific for a couple of seasons under Jose Mourinho. Sean Dyche is a worse, they call him the Ginger Mourinho, don't they?
Yeah.
Like that style is just awful. It's just god awful.
It's tough. We seen it at Spurs as well with Conte, didn't we? As well.
Conte.
You seen how the Spurs fans reacted.
Sorry, we've changed his name. It's now Conte, not Conte.
Yeah, absolutely. Acers, Newcastle United will beat PSG on Wednesday. That's a big call, Acers. Myself and Darren have been talking off screen about PSG.
No, they won't.
PSG are decent side at the moment. They've gotten rid of the likes of Messi and Neymar and stuff like that, and they
got rid of the dead wood.
Yeah. Mad,
they got rid of the dead wood. Yeah. No, PSG look very decent. The boy Zaire Emery, very good footballer. This kid. They've got Colin Mawani. They've obviously got Dembele and Mbappe either side. Like, there's some very nice footballers here. And the boy Ugarte as well in the middle. He's a tough tackler, this kid. I think PSG could go further than they've gone in a long time in that Champions League without, the Neymars and the Messis and the Verrattis, the lads who maybe had the name but didn't want to put the shift in. The Di Marias, guy like that.
You could argue before those guys came, they were more successful in the Champions League and went deeper.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
So let's see what happens. But yeah, absolutely. But listen, you got to be careful with these things when you're putting that out there. PSG are not Sheffield United. We know Newcastle have turned that corner. They're doing really well since the draw against AC Milan. And even Eddie Howe said it last night. He turned around post-match. He says, let's not get carried away here. It was only a few short weeks ago we were struggling, So and I like the way Eddie Howe keeps it grounded,
I'm going to give some flowers to Corvo there because I know he's listening.
Yeah, he's a cracking player, isn't he?
Well?
He's a cracking player, Jacob Murphy.
I'm not a huge fan of him. However,
not really?
No, but I'm going to give his flowers for something else because last week he mentioned what a big loss it was to have the boys Sven Botman in. And he said when he thought when Botman came back and we started to shore things up a bit, we'd see the victories. Well, he wasn't wrong. And again, the boy Botman, very, very good footballer.
Yeah,
very good footballer.
Well, we see the difference is when he's out, they switch Dan Burn in there, don't we? And Dan Burn just seems very uncomfortable in that position, as big as he is, because he's big and he's kind of a bit awkward and stuff like that.
The boy Botman is a serious centre back. He's a lad I would take your hand off to have at Old Trafford now, I have to tell you. Absolutely.
Yeah, Brian's in. Anthony and Sancho already out. Does he need to drop Rashford too? I don't think he has the balls to create that headline.
I don't know.
He's created bigger ones.
I don't know.
Bigger ones,
Well, he's been involved in bigger ones. I don't know if he created them, but I'm gonna go 3-0 Newcastle.
Okay. West Ham versus Sheffield United. West Ham all day, isn't it?
Yeah. Looking forward to this one actually, which is not something I often say because I'm looking for what Sheffield United have after last week. Yeah, 100%, Morris, 100%. I think after the defeat last week, you're looking for a real performance. Out of Sheffield United. West Ham's not the place you want to go for that.
And Moyes will be looking from that from West Ham as well after the drop off against Liverpool.
Yeah, and West Ham have just started to get players back as well. I saw last night, the boy Maxwell Cornet was back, Ben Rama, Antonio, lots of guys just popping their head back in. Paqueta, you'll have Ward Prowse and stuff like that the weekend. So yeah, I think this will be tough. I'm going West Ham here. I'm going West Ham, and I'm going to go West Ham 3-1.
Company is turning into the Stephen Kenny of the Premier League.
Think that's a stretch. Well, here's a question. Hold on. Here's a question for Morris. Morris, if Stephen Kenny got the chop, would you take Vincent Kompany? Morris, over to you. Let's hear what he has. Would you take Vincent Kompany if Kenny left the building? What have you got here? What's he got here for us? Has he got back to you?
Not yet. Well, in terms of Morris, I mean, we know he'd take anyone bar him at the moment.
Well, I know he would, but I'm saying, like, would you? Is that the kind of manager you'd like to see?
Yeah. Brian saying Kompany doesn't care about Burnley. He just wants to show he plays modern football. He gets another job regardless.
He does.
I think he does care. In fairness, if you've seen him last season and stuff, he does and stuff like that. I think he does.
He wears his heart in his sleeve.
Yeah.
Really does Vincent Kompany, as he did as a player. He's starting to do it as a manager now as well. So I think that's very harsh. But I do understand what Brian is saying, that he will get a job off the back of the job he's done at Burnley, and he'll get a better job. You know, if let's look at somebody there down the list. If let's say Wolves with Gary O'Neill there, yeah. If Wolves don't pick up a couple of results, and Gary O'Neill gets closer to the door, would Wolves look at a Vincent Kompany? They should. They absolutely should. You know?
West Ham 5-0. Big score.
That's a big score.
Yeah. Wolves versus Man City.
Another tough day at the office for Wolves, isn't it? Really is. Not getting any easier.
So. Yeah, I think so.
And you know, there's a lot to like about Wolves. There's a lot of endeavour. There's a lot of stuff going on. I take Marty Whelan. Yeah, but would Vincent Kompany, would that kind of style suit you? Would you love to see Vincent Kompany? Morris wants Brian Cowley to get the Ireland job. Coach Kilkenny man himself. Go on the Cats. Wolves and City. Yeah, I think
wouldn't be a bad show. Brian Cowley doesn't suffer fouls gladly, that's for sure.
No, he sure doesn't. I don't see Wolves getting anything out of this, unfortunately. And I think, again, we'll be back to watching the Vikings celebrating, getting goals this weekend. I reckon he's got a couple in them this weekend against Wolves, hasn't he? Is this the first? Are we going to say it? Is this the first Haaland hat-trick of the season? Is it the first Haaland hat-trick of the season away at Wolves?
Are we preempting beat the bookie here now, are we?
I haven't had a bet on it, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised.
I know where you're coming from there, Brian. I think maybe looking at it, I mean, you could probably argue a lot that they do kind of are forced at times to play defensive football, but it looks like they obviously, through training and through setup and all that formation stuff and stuff like that, they're obviously not being trained and coached that way potentially, you know.
But here's a tough thing, and I want you to think about this logically, not even from a football point of view, right? City Haaland hat-trick. There's somebody listening to me. See that?
8-0 City.
Here's Henry as well. There's another one. Mm-hmm. If I go from the championship, right? And if I'm top of the championship and I've got one of the best teams in the championship, I can play this kind of expansive, exciting football. When I go up to the Premier League, can I change all that around? Because don't forget, now I'm not the big fish in a small pond. Now I'm the small fish in a big pond. Is there enough time there to, you know, change everything I've asked them to do for the last 10 months? And okay, I know this got us to this level, but I don't think this works at that level. So we're going to have to take that all out and start it. That's a tough gig. I would imagine, and this is not a popular thing to do, I would imagine you'd need a new manager for that. You know, you get somebody like a company to get you up, get you the gig, and then when you're going in there, you go, right, listen, we're taking it off you. Unfortunately, you've done your part. We're going to bring someone in a little more defensive-minded, a bit more pragmatic to try and pick up wins along the way and to keep us in the league. That upsets a lot of people, fans especially, you know? But it's tough to do. It's really tough to do.
I suppose the thing about it is come the end of May, you're not going to be upset if you stay up, are you?
Well, the fans won't be, but if you go down still, you know, you still got to answer the questions. Well, we would have stayed up. No, we wouldn't have stayed up playing that football. And at the minute, it's proven that way.
Yeah, big up, Geordie. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
Acers is in with DJ Carey. Geordie, we are winning 5-0 against Burnley. Could happen. Could be another massive one. He has a hat-trick already, Darren Bryan is saying.
Does he? Don't remember getting a hat-trick.
Interesting. I think we need someone less expansive to take the Ireland job. Back to basics and grind out results. Just need to get some results on the board and get the confidence going, don't we? Darren, where we're Spurs versus Liverpool. Wolves, Man City. What did you call on that? Big one. Big score.
In fairness to Brian, he got a hat-trick on game week 4 against Fulham at home. And do you know why I missed it? Any ideas, lads?
Is that the week you were over at the game?
It's the week I was on holidays.
Yeah, there you go.
I travelled the day he got his hat-trick. I left I left America on Saturday the 2nd. So that's how I missed it. Apologies. Apologies, Brian. Where are we going here? Spurs Liverpool. Looking
Spurs
forward to
versus
that.
Liverpool. Just let Jordy know. Darren Dazzler follows Man United and I follow Liverpool. So there you go. Nice little.
I do, Jordy, but your buddy Corvo in the comments will tell you of a little place in my heart for the Magpies, because I think they've a tremendous fan base, and I love St James's Park. I think outside of it, Old Trafford, St James's Park is my favourite stadium in the league. That's the place I'd like to be most. Just great stadium, great fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's tight. Maybe 2-1. He's saying. Henry's saying if Liverpool lose to Spuds, then City wins the title.
Pretty early for that, isn't
it? I think City might win the title anyway, even if we beat them. We're just trying to keep it alive, as they say. You know. Spurs versus Liverpool. Interesting dynamic on this one. Going to be. I think it's going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be a really, really good game. But we're two potential candidates here for signings of the season, of course, in Big Dom and James Maddison going up against each other. But I'm really interested to look at Luis Diaz being handled by Poirot, and also that dynamic between Poirot and potentially either Trent or Joe Gomez. Give us your thoughts on it. What do you think there on this one?
Poirot plays on the right, yeah. So if it's Joe Gomez our thing, it's down the left hand side, which is the boy Destiny Udogie. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I have to be honest with you, man. This is back to, and I don't know whether I told you about this last week. Really enjoyed that Arsenal Spurs game last Sunday. Really enjoyed it. Said this recently. It's great watching football teams when your team isn't in the mix. When you don't have a horse in the race and you can really enjoy the game, you know. That way goals either side don't upset you. But yeah, I think Spurs at home will be tough to beat. They'll be real tough to beat. They obviously rolled us over at home. They were very, very good. They'll come out like a train. Ange has them pouring. Liverpool haven't started the games very, very well recently. They seem to be in comeback mode. Go a goal down, come back. Go a goal down, come back.
It's been a while since we've started the game really good, isn't it?
And I got to be honest, like, I don't know if you can afford that against Spurs, because I think all of a sudden you could be 1 or 2 down against Spurs if you didn't get out of the blocks quick, and it makes coming back much more difficult. I do think there's going to be goals. That's the one thing I will say. I think there's going to be goals on both sides of the ball here.
Henry, what do you mean you don't want a 4-3 again? I'll take a 4-3 right now, 100%. I love
you take any kind of 3 points right now, right?
Yeah. Big shout from Daz. He's going in with a 3-0.
That's huge. Do you know what? To be honest with you, I think there could be goals here.
Yeah, Bruins going 3-3.
I think this could be very similar to last Sunday. I think we're looking 2-2 again.
Morris is saying, surely Sunday's football can't be called a Super Sunday. Thank God I'll be at NLW Wrestling. Yeah, absolutely. Corbo's in. Udogie and Maddison has really impressed me. And Ange has given Son some of his shine back. I haven't been excited for a Spurs and Liverpool game in years. Yeah, I mean, well, listen, they generally don't disappoint anyway at times. They certainly always goals in them and stuff like that. But certainly Spurs are looking post Kane. They're looking really, really good at the moment. But it'll be interesting to see. This is going to be a kind of an acid test for both clubs to see how the season's going to go, I think, to be honest. It's these moments, these fixtures and stuff like that. And it's weird when you look at the lack of football on the Sunday as well. But I suppose we've got European football coming back next week as well.
That's right.
We have to pile everything into the.
That's why Chelsea have to play on Monday.
Morris made the point there. If Luton were to pick up the win at the weekend, it'd only be a point behind Chelsea or something like that. It's 5:30, so it'll be like a night game in that stadium. Yeah, that stadium is outstanding. I'm expecting drama. Yeah, no, it's gonna be cool. And look, it'll be a good acid test for us to see where we are at the moment. We're kind of, I said to you, Darren, we're kind of going along under the radar, riding a bit of a crest of a wave, but still quiet and getting about our business. Be interesting to see. There'll be a big build up to this, you know.
And this isn't me making assumptions here. This is more me asking a slightly leading question. Are the results a little bit better than the performances at the minute?
I would say maybe in pockets. I wouldn't say overall. I think if you look at even the Leicester game last night.
No, well, I was just going on league form.
Yeah, but even if you look at the league games, like I mean, we did offer a number of chances to West Ham last week and stuff like that. We have been coasting it somewhat a little bit like that, but generally speaking, when we turn on the afterburners and we unleash the players that we want to unleash, we've been very, very impressive. The likes of Szoboszlai and McAllister in midfield. Curtis Jones has looked brilliant. Joe Gomez in the last 2 or 3 games has looked really good as well. And that's, for me, that's frightening to be even contemplating saying that. You've seen my match reactions and stuff like that. I've nearly put my fist through laptops at times over some of these guys, you know. But I just think it's a mentality about us at the moment. I think, do you know what it is? I think we're going out. And it's kind of weird. This season is such a dynamic compared to last season. We're going out, and even if we get down a goal, we're kind of nearly comfortable to be going down a goal because we know that we probably have something there to come back into it and that it doesn't seem to be a problem. Whereas if you look at last year when we went down a goal, we just sunk into the ground. It was like we were running on mud. It was horrible. Like, you know what I mean? This season is just so different. The energy in the midfield is outrageous. Honestly, Dominic is just... If you watch him and you watch if you watch the matches he plays in, his control, his aggression, his fight, his play in tight spaces, he has it all. Like, he has it all. And I'm not trying to prop this guy up too much, but he's been absolutely outstanding. And I think because of him and the energy that he's brought as well, I think it's starting to rub off a lot of the rest of the players and stuff like that. And they're all starting to look pretty decent, you know. So let's see what happens. As I said, this is a huge game on Saturday evening, 5:30 as well. It's going to look great in that stadium as well. And these are the games. These are the games that we look back and we go, yeah, it was that moment. Is that the moment where we're going to lay down a marker and go, yeah, we're not going for top 4. We're actually in the title race. Let's see what happens. You know, and I think it's really important as well for the league as well that a number of our clubs stay in that situation and not just let City pan off at it this time, you know. It's going to be really important. I'm going to go for a tight win. I'm going to go for a Liverpool away win 2-1. That's what I'm going to go for. And I think Spurs could get the early goal again. But let's see what happens. Where we Tottenham haven't beaten Liverpool since 2018 at Wembley. Kane hat-trick yet. Henry, 3-1 Liverpool. Salah brace. Yeah, I'll take that all day. I'm building a new bar shed on Monday, so thank God I don't have to watch Chelsea Barfest FC. Building a new bar shed, huh?
Corvo, don't forget to invite us over for the opening, pal. We can do a Thursday tier talk live from the bar. You can be pouring the drinks. Myself and Niall can be having the chats with all the gang in the crowd, yeah?
Easy, yeah, and Darren's partial to a nice Guinness as well, Corvo, so he might be okay with a brown ale. A brown ale might work.
I'm sure I've had worse at some stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck with that, Corvo. Absolutely. We'd like to see pictures of that, Corvo, so that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
There will be goals. There definitely will be goals.
I think so.
You think if Poch keeps Chelsea up, he will get a new contract? We'll talk about that in a bit. Let's get on Sunday then. Nottingham Forest versus Brentford.
I know we understood there was going to be a huge void left in the Brentford side when Tony left, but I think it's showing up now. It's not just the goals; it's everything he brought to the team. The way he was that focal point up front, the way he brought in the lads around him, Visa and Mbeumo and stuff like that. I reckon they could have the boy Maupay on the pitch for 6 months, and they probably still wouldn't score. He's just so poor at times, and he wasn't like that initially because obviously he played for Brentford, and at one stage he looked like he was going to be a real good baller, and then he just hit the skids, went to Brighton, dropped down, didn't work for him, gone to Everton. That's like going to sign for, Iraq FC. And it's just Brentford really finding it tough at the minute. I think Forest, I'm backing Forest here. I think Forest, the City Ground, are a tough team. Gotta say, I know we spoke about it probably last week, I think. I like that front four that Forest are starting to get together now. the boy Awonyi, the ex-Liverpool lad. You got Gibbs White, who was at Arsenal. You got Alanga, ex-United, and you got Callum Hudson-Odoi, ex-Chelsea. 4 super footballers, these lads. Backed up in that midfield. They've got some good midfielders, and they're starting to keep things a little bit tighter at the back. I'm going Forest here. I'm going Forest 2-1.
Yeah, this is a big test for Thomas Frank at the moment, isn't it? Because things are just not going his way.
No.
It's an interesting for him moment at the time, and Cooper as well. They'll be both managers will be looking at that game as potentially one where they need to get something on the board there big time, because they've both struggled somewhat, you know.
They'd big money, and I was talking about this today. I think they've 40 odd million on the table for the boy Nicolas Gonzalez from Fiorentina in the summer, and the deal didn't happen. And then they tried to throw big money at somebody else. I'm trying to think who it was, and they didn't get the deal to happen either, Brentford. And it was basically like, you can just see they're short on goals and they need a striker. Now, something which I heard was muted today, and our man Cheapy Productions in the comments might give us his rebuttal on this one, is there you go.
As if by magic, Mr. Ben, as if by magic.
There you go. The boy Tony heading one way, Eddie and Cash heading the other. Does that work for everybody? Well, Arsenal end up with a better striker. Brentford end up with a striker, and probably 30 to 40 in the bank.
It might work for Brentford. It might not work for Thomas Frank. That's the only thing I would say.
I don't know. I think the boy Nketiah gets a lot of goals in that Brentford team.
Really?
Absolutely.
Interesting. Be interesting.
Eddie's a finisher. Eddie is a finisher.
Yeah.
You know, but he absolutely is. His all-round play isn't where it needs to be, but he's a finisher. I think Eddie does all right in there.
I don't know. I think Brentford. I don't know. I wouldn't be jumping through hoops if I was a Brentford fan at that day. But let's see what happens anyway. But
well, if you know, here's the
Tony
thing.
goes into Arsenal.
Yeah. If you know Tony's going right, and your option is whatever 60 million cash, or you're getting 40 million plus in Nketiah, who can get you 10 to 15 a season. It's a start.
Yeah.
It's a start.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from there, Brian, as well, with the Gerrard comparisons as well. We know how brilliant Stevie G is. Listen, he hangs over my bed there holding up that number 5 in Istanbul. Don't worry about that. But I just think when I look at Szoboszlai, I look at his deep runs, I look at his energy, he's all over the pitch. I love the balls and the passes that he plays down through the channels and stuff like that.
It's the all action. Yeah. It's that Roy of the Rovers, I'm everywhere all the time. It's that sort of a thing.
Always looking for the ball, doesn't shy away, always looking to make stuff happen.
I absolutely agree with cheap. I agree with Brian on that point. I don't necessarily agree with him on the Eddie Nketiah one, but I do agree with him on the Szoboszlai one. You know, he'd need to have done it for a little longer than 8 games before I start making comparisons, you know?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, Henry, isn't it, with Trent? He should be fit for the game. He's back in training all. Obviously, Thiago isn't fit, but Trent being fit again. I wonder, does he go straight in, or does he be careful with him? Does he pick Joe?
It's a bad idea to go straight in with Trent with the way how attacking Spurs have been.
Yeah, that's bad idea. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And whatever Joe's frailties are going forward and trying to invert him and stuff like that, he has a bit of.
He brings a solidity to that defense. Yeah. He does.
He's a big guy as well. Dora game Sunday, Brentford need to play a better after defeat. You know, when we look at these sometimes, Henry, and the way these fixtures come out, you get that Forest Brentford game on a Sunday. That could end up being the game of the weekend. It just sometimes falls and happens like that. You know what I mean? You never know.
Well,
we know Rico Henry injury is a massive blow for Brentford.
We know what's not going to be the game of the weekend.
Yeah. Fulham,
over to you at the cottage.
Yeah, when you get Tony Khan FC,
Tony Khan FC versus Todd Bowley, and I want to give a team talk after the game. Oh my God, how embarrassing is that? Jesus Christ, man! Imagine the owners going in to give you the chats after the game. Well, lads, listen, You didn't do great today. Now, you're going to have to get the L finger out here, lads, or I'll have to stop paying you that 350 bags a week. Yeah, boss, no problem. Close down your way out, won't you?
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of here.
I heard a story from last weekend. Was it on the back of the Villa defeat? I think it was that Iqbal had gone into the changing room.
That's exactly what it was.
Bowley, yeah. Iqbal had gone in, and I was thinking, "Oh, good lord, here we go again. Here we go again. The gift that keeps on giving." Yeah, I seen Djokovic. Did you see him with the?
I seen him. Did you see him driving the par 4?
I tell you, smashed it.
He hit a little cuff from the left hand side.
Did I see today as well? Was it Victor Hovland? Or he had a hole in one on a par 4?
He did, but it was a second ball. So they were in practice, but he threw the first ball down, hit it. The second ball, I think he hit 3 wood, pitched on the green, rolled out into the cup. Yeah.
I didn't look at. I'm not counting the first one. That's class.
He's buying the drinks tonight.
Yeah. He was excited for the Ryder Cup tomorrow, lad. 6 a.m.
Absolutely.
It's going to be quality.
There's not very many things that get me out of bed at that hour of the morning.
Yeah.
That's
100%. Wamby has been unbelievable, scored in something like 8-9 consecutive games. Yeah, he's a beast as well. He's a beast. Go on.
I think when you take that step down to show, because obviously if you can't get game time at Liverpool and stuff like that, and this is what happens a lot of players, you can't get game time because, a manager at Liverpool doesn't have the time available to him to blood you into that team. However, if at the end of the season, Liverpool were linked with him, would it annoy you? Absolutely not. You'd look at the kid and go, geez, he's exactly what we'd have. Does that make sense? Even though, he's come out of you guys, but he had to go elsewhere and be given a little bit of time and stuff like that to find his feet. And now he is such a big lad. He's a unit. Like, I don't know any centre-back in that league that wants to come up against this kid.
Yeah, Tony come back to Newcastle. It makes sense. Does it though? He had a lot to say, didn't he? He had a lot to say.
I don't know if he goes back to Newcastle with Wilson and Isak. That's a lot.
Yeah, Henry reckons we play Gomez at right back and play Trent in midfield. I don't know about
You're not taking anyone out of midfield to get Trent in. No way.
Best mate is an Arsenal fan and he can't wait to get rid, but terrible was her. Terrible was harsh, yeah.
That's on out, Eddie.
Yeah. I'd put him in the Solanke bracket. Yeah, absolutely.
Got to be honest with you, nothing wrong with Solanke either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Solanke's doing well. Doing real well.
Wolves fans will be going home about 20 minutes in. What are you doing for Fulham Chelsea? What are you thinking on this?
Are Chelsea playing this weekend? Oh, Fulham and Chelsea. 1-1.
It's that bad they didn't even slot them into the 2:00 Saturday Sunday game, huh?
I reckon it's going to be 1-1. I reckon it's not going to be a great game of football at the Cottage. I reckon Fulham are going to be in good form and Chelsea will just get something out of it and it'll be a 1-1. But that's all I got for you right now.
Absolutely. Hole in one on a par 4. We've all been there. Don't think I've ever had a hole in one on a par 4. Curtis Jones, easy, Darren. Yeah, Curtis Jones.
Ooh,
Elliot is bang average.
Which Elliot are we talking about? Harvey?
Harvey, I'd say. Harvey, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I've had questions over his physicality, but there's no doubt the boy has skill, Henry, Fulham win 2-1. God, imagine that. Imagine the vibes off that if that happens. Anyway, folks, that's your Premier League preview. Let's have a quick look at the Carabao Cup draw from last night. Of course, the tie that sticks out, of course, Man United, Newcastle, repeat of the final. Give us your thoughts on the draw.
It's up there with the worst one we could have got, really, wasn't it? I'd have happily taken Mansfield, Port Vale, Ipswich, Exeter. Any of them would have done me like. So I was a bit upset to get Newcastle now. Obviously delighted that it's at Old Trafford. Again, I think it makes it even more difficult if we've to go to St James's Park. But I think it's a tough draw. I think Newcastle will be out for revenge. And I think if Newcastle can get through us in the next round, I back them to win it. Because I think they're a team on a mission for silverware under Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I think they had a taste of that final last year, didn't they? And they were disappointed in the way they performed. Maybe being out of it for so long and coming back in there, maybe the stage got to them. We know how excited Dan Bourne and the boys were even getting to the final and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, it's. I mean, we're looking at this draw at the moment. You're looking at what, maybe 4 or 5 Prem teams going out in this round potentially. 4 are definitely going to go out anyway because there's 4.
Well, one of United Newcastle, one of Liverpool Bournemouth, one of Arsenal West Ham, and one of Everton and Burnley. Yeah. So there's 4, and like there's 4 decent teams gone out there. You know,
we never get an easy draw. Yeah, I suppose the difficulty in that draw as well. I think those ties are being played the week the 30th of October, so you would expect United to have a few players back as well. You know, so
we have. Let me just go in and look at my calendar here because I happen to know we have a big game on the 29th. We play Man City in the league.
On the 29th, which I presume is a Super Sunday, is it?
So here's our wait, here it is now. Sunday, October 29th, we play Manchester City at 3:30. And then on Tuesday, the 31st, we play Newcastle at 7:45. That's Sunday, Tuesday. That's tough.
It is, absolutely.
And you're going City and Newcastle.
And you could be going into it on the back of a hammer.
That's very tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've not been overly kind to us there, have they?
You have a nice run through October till you get to that point, so you can't really, like, you know, you're eventually going to have to play them. I mean, you have a decent run of games now between now and then, haven't you?
It's not shocking, but it's, you know, there's I don't like, excuse me, I don't know why they couldn't give us the Wednesday game after playing on the Sunday, you know? That's my only crib, shall we say.
Have you got a Saturday lunchtime game after that then?
Have I got a Saturday lunchtime game?
Or are we heading into an international break at that stage? I'm not too sure.
I'll tell you exactly what we have. We've got City on the 29th. We've got Newcastle on the 31st, which is the Tuesday. That's Halloween night. Oh, hang on. That's gone. Date TBC. They might move to the Wednesday. We're Saturday, 12:30 kickoff away at Fulham then. That doesn't get any easier, does it?
No.
Sunday, Tuesday, Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to get your thoughts on this
world peace.
Yeah, but a lot of seems to be, dare I say, Eric Ten Hag has suddenly caused the situation here where managers are coming out and being quite vocal about individual players. Give me your thoughts on this at the moment.
I think it has more to do with the players that managers have to deal with in today's society, shall we say. Like, if I'm Jadon Sancho and somebody is willing to pay me £200,000 a week, I can go to bed at 11 o'clock and I can be somewhere at fucking 9, knowing I need to be ready for a training session at 10. I'm not on my PlayStation till 5, knowing that I can't then get to a training session for 10 and make myself look like a bit of a tit. And I feel like the same should be said for these two boys. The boy Calvin Phillips looks like he's given up at City. He looks devoid of any sort of confidence. He looks like he's missing the guy who made him a player. It's now I'm starting to wonder, and you've heard Jose Mourinho talk about it previously with Luke Shaw. He had to coach him through games. Right now, I don't believe you need to do that with Luke Shaw because I think Luke Shaw's much better than Jose Mourinho allowed him to be. But, like, was Marcelo Bielsa the genius behind Calvin Phillips? Because I've got to be honest, right now, he looks like He's never played at any sort of level. He looks so poor. Really does.
Yeah, I suppose
Excuse me.
when the opportunity of a move presented itself in the summer, maybe it should have been. I know he
Should
decided
have
he wanted to
swam.
stay, and yeah, but I think a lot of it could be to do. It could be pressure as well. We speak about this a lot when you move to a big club. And I'm not saying Leeds aren't a big club, but you know what I mean. A big club, that pressure. Like when he's at Leeds, he's all Leeds. He's a Leeds boy. The family, the whole lot, everything there. You know, there's a comfort feeling and a comfort blanket there, if you like. You know, when you're at Man City, there's a huge spotlight on you there, 24/7. And you even seen it there last night. I know Pep after the game spoke about the players and how they performed and stuff like that. No, but he didn't have a great night at the office, really, did he? Now, in fairness,
You know he didn't, and Pep knows he didn't as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's also a bit where he has to try and do a little bit of saving face because he's paid big bucks for this kid as well, and he made the assumption
50 odd million, wasn't he? 50
he was
odd
about
million.
40 something, 50 million. Yeah, so you know.
And he's probably pulling in a decent wage as well, I'd say.
Pulling in a minimum of 150 grand a week, right? Absolute bare minimum. Now, I got to say, if I look at what he's brought in this summer in comparison to what he brought in last summer, like if I look at Calvin Phillips and I look at the boy Nunes, this kid looks like he's outrageous. This could be only the start of this kid. Do you know?
Phillips will struggle against Arsenal midfield.
Phillips.
I don't think he'll play against Arsenal. I'd be surprised if he does. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Stretch.
Yeah, but absolutely. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it because it's interesting now because there's a lot of, we see it now a lot at the moment where
it's extremely current at the moment, isn't it, William?
Yeah, it is, and it's dare I say flavour of the month as well.
We've made it fashionable, haven't we?
Yeah, you sent this to me today. I had a quick look at it and stuff like that. I don't know much about dynasty equity and stuff like that, but it sounds like a lot of it is to tie up loose ends in relation to stuff that's hanging around from the COVID pandemic and stuff like that. And all, there's not a huge amount of money out in this going anywhere near Jurgen Klopp. They're talking about the development of Anfield and stuff like that, which I was led to believe are loans to the club and self-financing and stuff like that. Not from what I read, so I don't know how they're using that investment money and stuff like that from that point of view. But maybe it's something to do with the stand being delayed and the other company going into administration. Maybe there's additional costs now or stuff like that. Who knows?
Possibly.
Right, will we get into beat the bookie?
Yes, and I have my bets done from last night, Noel, so I'm going first.
Go ahead. Fire away.
I just have to tell you one piece of news.
Okay.
When I made my predictions, they were different than my bets. I just realised that now. And actually, it was only one result, and you'll hear it straight away. Because I went for Arsenal 2-1. I went for Everton 2-0. I went for West Ham. And actually, I went for Liverpool. So that's my banker. Although I think banker's a stretch. But basically, I'm hinging the whole bet on Liverpool. It's 6-1. If you have a tenner on that at 6-1, you'll get 70 bob. So then you can foresee a couple of tenors going in other directions and not worry about it too much. You know what I mean? That's me first one.
The best way to beat the bookie is to make pretend bets.
Absolutely. Look, I have it done up a little. Look, can you see this?
Yeah.
Hang on, wait, you see? See, look.
76-1, yeah.
See?
Nice.
Have them all, Liz. Do me little. That's me next bet now. Would you like to know what that is?
The best way to beat the bookie is get him in a figure 4 lead lock. I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that, Carvo. Absolutely.
Arsenal and both to score.
Yeah.
West Ham and both to score. Man United and both to score. Liverpool and both to score. 76-1. See it there?
Nice. Not too bad.
United, West Ham, Liverpool and Arsenal all to win and both teams to score. 76-1. You'd take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I did a similar one, but I did a treble.
Who'd you do?
You've two of mine, so I had United about to score, and I had
Yeah.
Liverpool on both to score.
Very
And
good.
I had Brighton on both to score.
That's about 40 to 1, I'd say, for a treble, is it?
Yeah, 38.
Yeah.
38. Not bad.
Pretty good. No.
Not bad at all. That was
And
one. That's why I jumped onto it to have a look, see where you were going.
I've one more.
Yeah, go on.
So I'm going goal scorers. Have to go Dominic Calvert-Lewin, don't we? At home against Luton. With his return to form.
Yeah, don't forget, before you go in there, don't forget, folks, if you are having a bet and you're gambling responsibly, of course, as we like, if you are doing one, drop it into the comments there if you want to into the chat. Let us know what you're doing as well. Go along with us, or let us know your thoughts on what we're saying.
If you cut me off in the middle of a bet again, I'm telling you, me and you're going to have a problem, Hogan Jeremy.
Are you losing your train of thought, are you?
No, my battery's gone. Okay. I'm going Dominic Calvert-Lewin because he's got 2 and 2. I'm going Carvo will enjoy this. I'm going Callum Wilson because I think as number 9s go, he's probably up there with the top 3 or 4 in the league. I'm going to go Rasmus Højlund because I think he's going to get his Old Trafford goal this weekend. I think some of his play has been very good and he hasn't got the goals yet, but I'm backing our boy Rasmus this weekend. And I'm going to finish it off with the clutch goal. This is 2-1 to the Arsenal, and it's a clutch goal from Captain Fantastic, Martin Odegaard.
Okay, so give us them again. Martin Odegaard.
Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah.
Callum Wilson and Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Interesting. I wasn't too far off with my score bet either.
What have you gone for?
I went with Calvert-Lewin. I went with Callum Wilson.
Yes.
I went with the guarantee Erling Haaland, of course.
Right.
The banker. Mo Salah.
Right.
Mo Salah. And then the only different one I put in was Mitoma for Brighton.
Pretty good.
Not too bad, man.
So,
well, if I told you Mitoma alone anytime is 3-1.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me.
That's a great bet.
Mine paid 30-1.
That's 70.
I was going to say yours played more than that because you had an extra leg, plus you had a slightly bigger outsider like Mitoma.
Yeah, 70-1. So
not bad, 70-1.
He loves the goals, doesn't he, Mitoma?
He does. I like the boy Mitoma. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. The only other one I did, which is it's about I think it comes in at about somewhere between, I think it's around 20-1. I just did a straight up accumulator to get the party started basically, and I went with Brighton to beat Villa, Arsenal to beat Bournemouth, Everton to beat Luton, and Liverpool to beat Tottenham. It's about 22-23-1 or something like that, so it's not bad.
Bit of value there.
Let's see, what have we got here in the comments? Henry's in. Yeah, we have Europa League Thursday as well. Yeah, for our sins. So I'm trying not to focus on it.
You enjoy that, Henry.
Best way to beat bookies is by robbing any London safes. He's just biting back at Morris there. Carvo, if I did a bet, I'd lose before I leave the bookies. I used to gamble. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we only do it for fun, really. Basically, sometimes if we get a big win in, we give it away.
We don't.
Me too, Carvo.
Don't do anything for fun. You know, and you can tell the people at home in the comments why I gamble. Tell them why.
Because you have an awful habit of collecting and buying stuff.
No. No, that's not why I gamble.
Well, you only gamble to win.
Do you know why I gamble? Just so I can prove my predictions right. That's all. Just walking in, like I walk into the bookies, I'm not even looking for the money. I'm just like, told you, cunt. The girl behind the counter is looking at me going, what? What's wrong with this?
You're throwing the docket up on the counter like a bin sack full.
Just
you won
€8.76. Yeah, but I told you he'd score in the second half. Yeah. That's it. Oh God.
Aces reckons it's for the tennis racket collection. There you go. Not far off.
I don't have too many of them.
No.
Don't have too many of them. I used to have loads of them.
First manager to be sacked. Who's going?
Oh, the boy Rob Edwards is he's getting his coat at this stage. he's getting his coat at this stage.
Dazzler does the Winston from Still game when he wins a bet. Absolutely. Danny, I made a bet last season with my brother-in-law. Come on, fill us in, Danny. Tell us what happened.
I lost a bet last season, and I haven't been able to do the forfeit yet. We need to try and discuss that with young Morris. I lost a bet to young Morris last season. Now, anyone that knows me knows I will, I'll front up if I have to. I had to wear a Liverpool jersey on one of these Thursday tier talks last season because I lost a bet to Niall. So I think the talk was I was going to wear an Arsenal jersey. Now, Morris's issue is myself and himself aren't kind of built the same way.
Yeah. It's easy for me and you to lose bets, all right, isn't it? And trade jerseys. I don't think Morris's jersey. But we do have a hookup for jerseys, but the less said about that, the better.
Well, would you believe there's a delivery on the floor there that when a certain 8-year-old boy wakes up in the morning, there's a couple of new outfits there from, let's say,
from Morris has delved into that world now as well.
Has he? I don't know why he wouldn't.
Quality. That Arsenal wins the league. I lost 1k. If Arsenal would have given me 3k euros. So you got a 3-1 to your day. You backed Arsenal to win a grand, a 3-1 with the brother-in-law.
Wow, 2-1 you gave him, obviously.
You still talk to your sister? That's what I'd want to know after that.
Jesus.
Dazzler could email Jim Cornette for a spare racket. Absolutely.
Nothing like a good Donny with the head cover on it.
He has a spare ticket for Holland away, and I shall give it to you for free. That's your bet. Come to Amsterdam with Morris.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Lay down a marker there.
Oh,
tell you, that doesn't seem like a loss. That's not if they were wearing
that's
an
not a
jersey
loss.
Now. No,
that's not a loss. So. Now, the only thing was, I was kind of hoping he would have that, the neon and black. I like that one.
Morris.
Yeah, the Arsenal one. Yeah, but his one will just about fit Brody. Yeah. And that's me fucked.
You might get one arm into it and just wear it from the shoulder to one side of the neck or something like that.
Oh, God.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work, Jersey.
It's just not going to work.
The other forfeit's not too bad, but you better make, if you do that, you better make some content. You're not just going off somewhere like on a junket and not producing.
On a jolly, like.
Yeah, absolutely. If I lost 1k, I'll cry into my point for a year. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But then again, when you think about it, when you said December 22,
go on, tell us biggest bet you've ever made. Go on, tell us.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm scared. Do you know what? I'm scared to say it. Like, I've picked up some really good bets in the past. My dad used to own thoroughbreds.
The biggest cash bet you put on.
The biggest cash bet I put on?
Yeah, ever.
2 grand on a horse.
Put 2 grand on a horse?
Yeah, me dad's.
You're going to give us the good or the bad? Oh, thank God for that.
But I'll preface that by saying as well, I had 1,500 on a horse as well. I got beaten on the line. One of my dad's.
Are we talking good prices here, or what's the story?
Yeah, the win was at he's gone. The win was at 12-1, and the loss was at 10s. So yeah, it was a rough one, all right, a rough one. Yeah, Morris, I have it in a size 3-4. Yeah, absolutely. Henry, thanks for the stream, Niall and Darren. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Henry. Thanks for jumping on as well into the chat and stuff. Really appreciate it. Go over there, get over to Henry's channel. Give him those 10 subs he needs to hit 200. Let's not mess around here anymore. Carver, biggest bet I ever made was Dana Mac, and I lost, so I'm stuck with her. Oh, God. Hope she doesn't watch our streams, Carver. Good Lord. Nice one. That rounds out the night. Listen, folks, thanks a million for tuning in. Always appreciate you in the chat and stuff like that. Always good banter on a Thursday night and stuff like that. We might set up a GoFundMe to buy Darren a new battery for his stuff or something like that. It happens every week at this stage now, even when it's fully charged. But until next time, folks, I'll be back tomorrow night at 7:30. Tottenham preview coming at you live and large tomorrow evening at 7:30. Of course, if you could subscribe to the channel, get over to Henry and Morris and all those other channels in there as well, and make sure you're hitting the subs on them as well. As always, hit a like on the video, share the content, and of course, most importantly, like button, hit that thumb. It doesn't cost you anything at all, and we will talk to you again real soon. Henry, with an update, I know, Niall, 10 little subs, like pulling teeth. Come on, folks, get over there. Give them a sub. Let's go. Biggest bet I lost was in casino playing roulette. I won't even mention the amount, but my heart stopped. Yeah, it's horrible. Daz, Niall, I will DM you with some cards on Twitter. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that, Daz, as always. Keep that good pro wrestling stuff going. Make sure you check out last night's Pro Wrestling Weekly as well. We had a great show. Some crack in the chat. Until next time, folks. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy the football. It's Friday nearly. The weekend is nearly upon us. Cheers.